What's going on, guys? Falcon here with another episode of Card a Day. And in this episode, we're going to cover the infamous Mundus Stone. Alright, so before we dig into the details of the card, let's go ahead and talk about the artwork as usual. So the Mundus Stone is very cool indeed. If anything, it's the stones you see when you're walking around Oblivion and Skyrim, and they give you special abilities for a second, or maybe a couple minutes. Like I remember one giving you power to have agility times 10% for X amount of time. So that's pretty neat that they actually included something like this in the game. And so as far as the artwork, you can see they put a lot of details into the moss actually growing on the stone. And the lights that are very bright behind it, and not really bright, but more of a kind of a dull, like you're in a forest, so not much light is getting through. And the color, the dark colors, if you look through the dark colors underneath the stone, you can see that they really took into effect the shadows that would be cast from the sun coming through the forest onto the stone. And the star map on there is really cool too. I'm actually not sure which star that's representing, or which constellation in the Oblivion or Skyrim universe it's actually representing. Maybe one of you guys know. Put it in the comment section below, let me know. The artwork itself is very straightforward. A stone you happen upon in the forest that has magical abilities. And it's very detailed, as I said before. This one doesn't really spark as much, you know, like inspiration out of it, such as the other cards have so far, such as Desperate Conjuring that we've covered. That one was really neat looking. Now that we covered the artwork, let's go ahead and cover the aspects of the card that make this competitively viable. First up, the name, Mundus Stone. It is a unique legendary, as you can tell by its ability. It's a support card, so it's an ongoing effect. It is of the neutral color or colorless class. It costs 4 magicka to play, which is actually very fair for this card. If anything, this card should cost a lot more for the what it does. Since it is a legendary, it will cost you 1,200 to craft it, and you only get 400 for trapping it. So hang on to that stone. Unless you have, of course, more than 3. So the text, when you summon a creature, give it a random keyword. Now, if you've watched any videos of this card, you can see that it gets out of hand like insanely quickly. Because you drop that on turn 4, turn 5 you summon a couple other creatures, you have a charge, you have a drain, you have a guard. It just goes on from there. Lethal. I've seen this card played at high legendary levels too, and it's just, it's almost unfair. Which I find it funny that it's only in 10% of decks on legendsdecks.com. That's 364 out of 3610. But according to their rating, a couple people have voted. For constructed, they give it a 3.6. In arena, they give it a 3.9. And God, I can't imagine why in arena, because even on betweenthelane.com, I believe it's a .com, they have that rated in the excellent category for arena. And I can't imagine why, because in arena, what you're facing is always filled with uncertainty. And the cards you have may not exactly be fit to go up against your opponent. And so the Mundus Stone can actually be very favorable for you. So now that we covered the aspects of the card, we know that this card can play a pivotal role in you winning the game, whether that be in constructed, casual, or even arena play. I expect it mostly to be seen in arena, considering the 10% number we just saw. So let's go ahead and move on to the community's thoughts on the card. So the first comment we have is from Valerie, and she basically embodies what this card is about. The moment your valuable minion played in the stealth lane gets guard, and you lose because of that. Hee hee. And that's so true, because you may have a card that could win you the game. You may have lethal next turn. You throw it in shadow lane. Nope. Mundus Stone says you have guard and puts a big target on your back. The next comment is even better. He calls it the Troll Stone. No matter who plays it, one of the players is going to feel fucked over by RNG because of it. And the next one from Chad, I won't say his last name, feels good for all the potential charge lethal guard, but quite less than Divine Fervor, who isn't RNG based and doesn't always lose tempo on the turn it's played. And that's so true, because when you have Mundus Stone out, you don't know what you're going to get. It is RNG, in fact, and it's just like you're reaching in a bag for the certain coin, and you pick out lethal, you pick out guard, you pick out drain. It could be either of those. And like I said about that arena score and the excellent rating it got on Between the Lanes, Fig Jam says, way too good in arena. Every time my opponent plays it, I just lose. Okay, so Firewinged April says, hey, the very reason why once you play a creature, you can't recall it, fun card. Even though it's scary RNG, that'll carry arena for you. Thankfully, it's a unique legendary, so you'll rarely see it. Wonderful as far as flavor goes, of course. Yeah, Mundus Stone is just a crazy card. And once again, we have another comment on the arena experience. And now keep in mind, guys, these are from several months ago, these comments. And I bet you they are the exact same if we ask people today. So why don't you go ahead and let me know what your experience with the Mundus Stone is. I would love to hear it. We'll go ahead and review one last comment. He says, the defining characteristic of the card is that it's a legendary. If you could put 3 in a deck, you could design some fun decks that might even be viable. But as a legendary, it's tough to squeeze it into any of the dominant archetypes. And that's so true. Okay, so overall, the comments from the community seem very funny and very arena focused, not very constructed focused. Can't imagine why, because it adds too much RNG when you want to control the outcome of your game. Sorry about the dog in the background, he's a little crazy right now. Trying to go upstairs, it looks like. Overall, the community seems to enjoy the card for arena play, as I noted about the excellent arena listing rating in the excellent category, I believe, or the insane category actually. But so on to the fun part, where we actually rate the card from 1 to 5 stars. Now, okay, so let's start with the artwork. The artwork I found awesome. I found it a little dull, to be honest, when you compare it to other cards. But when you look at the setting it's in, it's a stone that's been growing moss on it in the forest, in a very shadowy forest. It actually is very, very detailed and well thought out. That leads me to believe that if I was going artwork alone, I would probably go 3. I know that's kind of low for one that actually blends well together, I guess you could say. But yeah. So with the artwork and the competitive viability of the card combined, if it was me personally, I would go the 4 just because of the random hilarity of the card, that it can actually affect the outcome of a game so drastically. Not only for the person using the stone, but for the person going against the stone. Now, once I combine my rating and what looks to be the community's very positive rating, if we're talking on the card's arena viability, not just the artwork, only a few people actually commented on the artwork, which isn't very surprising considering the card is such an infamous card right now. It even was a few months ago when the game was in beta. Combining my score and the community score, I'm actually going to give this card a 4 stars. Personally, because the random hilarity that the card can produce, along with the cool artwork, you know, it looks kind of dull, it actually blends well together. And then the fact that it's an ultimate arena card, listed in the insane category. So definitely a 4 stars for me. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, leave a comment in the section below if you'd like me to talk about something specific or a specific card, maybe one of the new cards that would just been revealed for the new Dark Brotherhood expansion. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Take it easy.
Mundus Stone.